Hi, welcome to the project of the month. This is Kathy Quinn with Floriani. Floriani is a division of R&K Distributing, and I want to welcome you to Kay's Garden Apron. This month we're going to create an apron to wear in our garden. As it's that time of year that we're all out in the gardens working, I thought I would like a nice heavy apron that I could put over my clothes when I want to go out, with some pockets to carry some tools in, maybe some seeds. So we're going to start by cutting our apron body 26 inches wide by 25 tall. Now I used canvas. I bought it at Hobby Lobby. And I bought contrasting for the pocket and the body of the apron. Of course, that is personal preference. You could use the same fabric throughout. Just make sure the fabric you're going to embroider on will lend itself to embroidery. Now we're going to cut the upper pocket 8 inches by 10 inches, and we will cut this down to 6 inches by 8 inches after we embroider it. The lower pocket we're going to cut 24 inches by 12 inches, and the ties we're going to cut 2.5 inches by the width of the fabric. Now we need 120 inches of length for our apron tie, so this may require 2 to 3 strips sewn together depending upon the width of your fabric. Now the first thing I do is I serged around all of my pieces, both pocket and apron body, because canvas does tend to fray, and this just makes it easier while we handle it and work with it. Now the first thing we're going to do is we are going to finish the top edge of our apron. Now that is the 26-inch width. If you have a pattern, make sure you're using the top. So I am going to finish the top edge. I took Floriani Applique Wonder tape, and you can get it in 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1/4 inch widths depending upon what you're doing. And I am going to iron this tape along the top edge. I'm going to fold it down 1 inch, and then fold it over another inch and press. Now I am going to edge stitch along the bottom fold. I want you to now take your Stitch and Wash Fusible, and I have chosen Floriani Stitch and Wash Fusible because since we do have satin stitch lettering, we want to very easily be able to pull this away without stressing any of our stitches. Now Stitch and Wash does have directions on the package, but remember, this is a partially water-soluble, partially fiber stabilizer. So when we finish our design, we can dampen just the stabilizer, wait 10 seconds, and it will pull away without stressing any stitches. So we will iron it to the back of our apron, upper apron body, and along the backs of our 2 apron pockets. So go ahead and iron your stabilizer to all of your pieces. Now we're going to fold our apron body lengthwise, which means I'm going to have a hot dog. So I'm going to measure down that 13-inch center, and I'm going to put a mark down the center apron front. Then I'm going to measure down from the top edge 3.5 inches and mark my horizontal line, and that will be my design center for my lettering, Mary, Mary, quite contrary. So we're going to go ahead and hoop this. I want you to use template tearaway, and I will put my lettering on and make sure it's adjusted for the center. Now if you happen to have a hoop that is not large enough to accommodate this size design it in 2 pieces. Put Mary, Mary, quite contrary, and then create How Does Your Garden Grow? You can save those in 2 separate pieces, print out 2 templates, match them up nicely on your apron front, and you will need to rehoop. If your hoop is wide enough, you'll be perfect just doing it in 1 hooping. We'll top it with Floriani's water-soluble topping and go ahead and stitch this out. Remove your stabilizer from the back and remove your water-soluble topping. Set your apron body aside. Now take your upper pocket piece and mark your centers, both vertical and horizontal, so we can center our design. You've already ironed your stabilizer, your Stitch and Wash Fusible to the back. Hoop it, top it, and stitch it. Again, remove your stabilizer from the back and remove your topping. Now we're going to prepare our upper pocket. Now trim it to 6 inches wide. Measure down from the bottom of your design, that would be with silver bells, measure down 1.5 inches and trim off the bottom of the pocket. Measure from the owl's ears up 3¼ inches and trim off any excess fabric on the top. Now we're going to get our pocket ready. We're going to fold the bottom up 1/2 inch and the sides in 1/2 inch. Now I will have, after trimming, I will have gone back to my serger and serged that top and bottom. I'm going to fold those in. I will use my applique Wonder Tape to press those in so they'll hold very nicely. And then I'm going to fold the top of my pocket down 1 inch, and then I'm going to fold it down 1 inch again and press, using my applique Wonder Tape to hold it in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch across the top of the pocket. Then I'm going to stitch again. I'm going to edge stitch it, then I will stitch it again 3/4 inch away from the edge of the top of the pocket. Now I'll take applique Wonder Tape, put it along the sides and bottom of my pocket so I can place it on my apron and press it in place so it will hold when I'm going to go ahead and stitch it to the apron. So I'm going to place it where it's attractive within the stitching. I will go ahead and, if I've got my applique Wonder Tape, I'm just going to press it down. It's already tacky because when I remove the paper, it's tacky. So I'm going to stick it down. I can press it, it will hold, and I will edge stitch it down. Now once I've edge stitched it along the sides and bottom, I'm going to move my needle in about 1/8 inch, and I'm going to stitch again to give it just a little stability. And I will go ahead and probably stitch 2 or 3 times along that top edge, reverse stitching, so I can make sure the top edge of that pocket is very secure and won't pull away and tear. Now I'm going to take my lower pocket piece and I'm going to go ahead and mark the vertical and horizontal centers with a solid line. Now I'm using, it's a little late now to tell you, but I'm using my friction marking pin because I know that heat will take that away. Then I'm going to take from my center vertical line, I'm going to measure over on either side of it and mark a dashed line 3½ inches on either side of that center vertical line. Then using that same center vertical line, I'm going to mark a solid line 7 inches on either side of that. Now the solid lines you're going to see are going to create the center marking spots, placement lines for your designs. We're going to, of course, we've already ironed our stitch and wash fusible on the back. And now that we've marked, we're ready to go. Now I'm going to take my template tearaway because I've printed out templates of all my designs, and I am going to place my templates centering them on those solid lines in the center and then on the 7-inch vertical line with the horizontal line on either side, making sure that you've got your nursery rhyme going in the right order. Once we've got that all placed, we are now going to start hooping and stitching. So we will hoop it, center our needle on our machine, remove the template tearaway, put water-soluble topping on the top, and go ahead and stitch out your nursery rhymes, again making sure they're in order. Now finish the sides of your apron. Fold in the sides 1/2 inch and then 1/2 inch again using your applique Wonder Tape. Edge stitch along the outside edge and then stitch again 3/8 inch in from that edge. Now we're going to press the hem of our apron up. We're going to press it up 1 inch and then fold it over again another inch and press. Edge stitch along that edge and then 3/4 inch away from that edge again. And if you're using your applique Wonder Tape, it's easy. No need to pin or baste. It's there for you. Now we're going to place our apron front, laying with the top up, And we're going to measure from the outside edge over 5 inches along the top edge and mark a dot on each side. Then we're going to mark down the outside edges 10 inches and make a dot. Make sure you do this on both sides of your apron. Now you're going to connect the dots with your ruler and draw that diagonal line from that 5-inch dot down to the 10-inch dot on both sides of your apron. Then you will trim along this line. Once that has been trimmed off, we are going to create the casing to thread our ties through. We're going to fold the cut edge over 1 inch to the wrong side and then fold it over another inch to the wrong side. Edge stitch along it and then 3/4 inch away from that edge, stitch it again. And this is your casing for your ties. Now I want you to take your ties that we have cut 2.5 inches wide. I want you to fold it in half lengthwise and iron a crease down the center. Then you're going to fold both raw edges into the center, press, and then you will close it. And you'll stitch, edge stitch along each edge lengthwise on these ties, folding in the raw edges at the beginning and end of your tie as you catch it in. Now set your apron tie aside because it's ready. Now we're going to prepare our lower pocket. I want you to fold the side edges in 1/2 inch to the wrong side and press. Fold them in another 1/2 inch and press. Using your applique wonder tape again will hold it. Now trim 1.5 inches from the bottom edge of the pocket up. So measure up 1.5 inch and trim that off. Now you will fold the pocket bottom up 1/2 inch to the wrong side and press. Again, I would have serged it prior to turning it up. Now let's do the top of our pocket. We're going to fold the top down 1 inch and then to the wrong side press and fold it another inch again to the wrong side and press. Stitch along, edge stitch along the top of it and then stitch again 3/4 inch away from the edge of the pocket, the top folded edge. Now we are going to put it onto our apron. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my apron body. Now I've got that center solid vertical. I'm going to make a dash line 3 inches on either side of the vertical. Then that vertical center line, I'm now going to make another dash line 9 inches away. So we've got a center solid line. We've got vertical dash lines, 3 inches on either side and 9 inches on either side. Now you are going to pin the pocket apron to the front, laying dashed lines on the pocket over the dashed lines on your apron, and you're going to line up the 2 hemmed edges. This is going to be at the bottom of your apron. Hems are going to line up. Now once we've lined that up, I want you to stitch through your vertical lines that are at the 3-inch mark on either side of the center. You've lined them up on top of each other. Now stitch down. And then 1/8 inch away, stitch down again to secure them. Now you're going to also line up the short edges along that dash line that's 9 inches on either side and stitch down that. And you're going to stitch down it again 1/8 inch away. So now what we have is we've got the hem. It's still open. The top is open and the bottom is open. Now what we're going to do is we are going to take little tucks and ease the bottom of this pocket along. That way you've got fullness in your pocket so you can get some tools and seed packages and whatever you need to carry, your cell phone, in these pockets. Once you've pinned that in and got it lined up flat with your tucks in there, then what we're going to do is we're going to edge stitch along the bottom edge of this apron pocket, which is lined up with the bottom edge of the apron, and then we're going to stitch again 1/8 inch up from the edge. So you've got 2 rows of stitching to hold it in place. Now that we have attached our bottom pocket, we are going to take a safety pin or a large bodkin and thread your tie up through the casing on the side. So you'll come up from the bottom through one casing, over across the top, which will be in the air. It'll come out the top of that casing, and then go down through your other casing to create to go around your neck and tie around your waist. Once you've threaded that through, let's put it on and go work in the garden. I hope you've enjoyed this month's project of the month, and I want to thank you for coming to the construction portion.